Hey, welcome to Sleepy English Academy. Here, you can enjoy relaxing English audio stories with subtitles, perfect for new learners. Listen, learn, and improve your English while you relax. Don't forget to subscribe to Sleepy English Academy and make learning part of your daily routine. Story title: The Adventures of Timmy the Turtle. Chapter 1. Timmy's Big Dream. Once upon a time, in a small pond surrounded by green trees, lived a little turtle named Timmy. Timmy was not like other turtles. While his friends were happy swimming in the pond and sunbathing on the rocks, Timmy had a big dream. He wanted to see the world beyond the pond. He wondered what lay beyond the tall grass and the big trees. One sunny day, Timmy looked up at the bright blue sky and said to himself, "I want to go on an adventure. I want to see the big mountains, the sandy beaches, and the wide rivers I have heard about." Timmy's best friend, a frog named Freddie, heard him talking. Freddie jumped over to Timmy and said, "Are you sure, Timmy? The world outside is very big and you are so small. It might be dangerous." Timmy nodded his head confidently. "I know, Freddie, but I still want to try. I believe that if I take one step at a time, I can do it." Freddie sighed but decided to support his friend. "Okay, Timmy, if this is what you really want, then I will help you. Let's make a plan." Chapter 2. Preparing for the journey. For the next few days, Timmy and Freddie made a plan. They gathered some food, leaves, berries, and a few insects for Freddie. They also made a small bag from a big leaf to carry the food. Timmy practiced walking on the land because he usually swam in the water. It was difficult at first, but he got better every day. Finally, the day came for Timmy to start his adventure. All the animals in the pond gathered to say goodbye. The wise old owl gave Timmy a small map. "This map will guide you to the big forest. After that, you will be on your own. Be careful and don't forget your way back." Timmy thanked the owl and looked at the map carefully. He took a deep breath and started walking. He was excited but also a little scared. He was leaving his home for the first time. Chapter 3. The Big Forest. After walking for many hours, Timmy reached the big forest. The trees were tall and the leaves were thick, blocking out the sunlight. It was dark and cool inside the forest. Timmy could hear birds singing and leaves rustling in the wind. As Timmy walked deeper into the forest, he met a squirrel named Sally. She was gathering nuts for the winter. Sally looked at Timmy and asked, "Hello, little turtle. What are you doing here in the big forest?" Timmy smiled and said, "Hello, my name is Timmy. I am on an adventure to see the world. Can you tell me what lies beyond this forest?" Sally thought for a moment and then said, "Beyond this forest is a big, wide river. It's very fast and deep. Be careful, Timmy." Timmy thanked Sally and continued his journey. He walked slowly but steadily. He met many animals along the way. A family of deer, a group of playful rabbits, and a busy ant colony. Everyone was surprised to see a small turtle walking through the big forest alone. They all wished him good luck. Chapter 4. The Wide River. After a few days, Timmy finally reached the wide river. The water was flowing very fast, and it made a loud noise. Timmy had never seen so much water in one place before. He stood on the bank of the river and wondered how he could cross it. As he was thinking, he saw a big log floating down the river. An idea came to his mind. He could use the log to float across the river, but he needed help to get on the log because it was too big for him to climb on by himself. Just then, a friendly beaver named Benny came swimming by. Benny saw Timmy looking worried and asked, "Hello, little turtle. What's wrong? You look sad." Timmy explained his plan to cross the river using the log. Benny smiled and said, "I can help you with that. I am good at climbing on logs. I will push the log closer to the bank so you can climb on." With Benny's help, Timmy climbed onto the log. He held on tightly as the log floated down the river. The water splashed all around him, but Timmy was not afraid. He was excited. He was crossing the big river. After a while, the log reached the other side of the river. Timmy thanked Benny for his help and continued on his journey. He felt very proud of himself. He had crossed the wide river. Chapter 5. The High Mountains. After crossing the river, Timmy reached the foot of the high mountains. The mountains were so tall that their tops were hidden in the clouds. Timmy knew that this would be the hardest part of his journey, but he was determined to keep going. Timmy started climbing the mountain. He moved slowly, one step at a time. The path was steep and rocky. Sometimes he had to stop and rest. It was very tiring, but Timmy did not give up. He remembered his dream and kept going. After many days of climbing, Timmy finally reached the top of the mountain. He looked around and saw the most beautiful view he had ever seen. He could see the big forest, the wide river, and the small pond where he used to live. Everything looked so small from up here. Timmy felt happy and proud. He had done it. He had seen the world beyond the pond. He had crossed the big forest, the wide river, and climbed the high mountains. He was not just a little turtle anymore. He was Timmy, the brave explorer. Chapter 6. Going Back Home. After spending some time on the mountain, Timmy decided it was time to go back home. He missed his family and friends. He wanted to tell them all about his adventure. The journey back home was easier because Timmy knew the way now. He crossed the river again with Benny's help, walked through the big forest, and finally reached a small pond. When Timmy arrived, all the animals gathered around him. They cheered and clapped. Timmy told them all about his adventure. He told them about the big forest, the wide river, and the high mountains. Everyone was amazed and proud of Timmy. From that day on, Timmy was known as the bravest turtle in the pond. He had shown everyone that no dream is too big if you believe in yourself and take one step at a time. Chapter 7. Timmy's New Dream. Even though Timmy had seen so much, he still had many dreams. He wanted to see the sandy beaches and the wide ocean next. He knew it would be a long and difficult journey, but he was not afraid. He knew that with courage and determination, he could do anything. And so, Timmy the Turtle, the brave explorer, began to prepare for his next big adventure. But that is a story for another day. Title: The Mysterious Melody of the Midnight Lake. Chapter 1. The Enchanted Town of Silent Creek. In a quiet little town named Silent Creek, there was a peculiar legend that everyone knew. The townspeople believed that at the stroke of midnight, a hauntingly beautiful melody would drift across the town from the direction of the lake. No one knew where the music came from, and no one dared to find out. The legend had been passed down for generations, and many people believed that the lake was enchanted. The town was peaceful, surrounded by thick woods and rolling hills, and the lake lay just beyond the forest. It was a beautiful, serene place during the day, with clear water reflecting the sky and the trees. But at night, it became mysterious and eerie. The melody that played was said to be so enchanting that anyone who heard it could not resist following it to the water's edge. Despite the warnings, there was one young boy named Max who was not afraid of the lake or the legend. Max was curious and adventurous, always looking for new things to explore. He had grown up hearing stories about the midnight melody, and he wanted to discover the truth behind it. Chapter 2. Max's Decision. One warm summer evening, Max sat by the window of his small house, staring out at the lake in the distance. The moon was full, and the sky was clear. He could hear the gentle rustling of the leaves in the trees and the soft chirping of crickets. It was a perfect night for an adventure. Max's parents had told him many times to stay away from the lake after dark. They believed in the legend and didn't want anything bad to happen to him. But Max couldn't resist the pull of his curiosity any longer. He had to know where the melody came from. He grabbed his backpack and quietly slipped out of the house. He packed a flashlight, some snacks, and a small notebook. Max was determined to document everything he discovered. He walked through the empty streets of Silent Creek, feeling a mixture of excitement and nervousness. As he reached the edge of the town and entered the forest, he could feel his heart beating faster. The trees loomed tall and dark around him, but Max knew the path well. He had been to the lake many times during the day, but this was his first time venturing there at night. Chapter 3. The Midnight Melody begins. Max reached the lake just before midnight. The water was calm, reflecting the silver light of the moon. He sat down on a large rock near the shore and waited. He looked around, but everything was quiet. The only sound was the gentle lapping of the water against the rocks. And then, just as the clock struck 12, it began. A soft, melodious tune floated through the air. It was like nothing Max had ever heard before. The music was beautiful, yet sad, and it seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Max felt a chill run down his spine. The legend was true. He stood up and looked around, trying to find the source of the melody. But the lake was still, and there was no one in sight. Max took out his flashlight and shone it around. But all he could see were the dark silhouettes of the trees and the still water of the lake. Max knew he should feel scared, but he didn't. Instead, he felt drawn to the music. He took a deep breath and began to walk along the shore, following the sound. The melody seemed to guide him, leading him further and further away from the path he knew. Chapter 4. The Hidden Island. After what felt like hours, Max reached a part of the lake he had never seen before. The trees here were thicker, and the air felt different. It was as if he had stepped into another world. And then, through the mist that had begun to form over the water, Max saw something incredible. In the middle of the lake, shrouded in fog, was a small island. Max had never seen the island before, and he knew it shouldn't be there. The melody was stronger now, and it seemed to be coming from the island itself. Max knew he had to get there. He looked around and found an old, wooden boat tied to a tree. It was covered in moss and looked like it hadn't been used in years. Max untied the boat and pushed it into the water. He climbed in and began to row toward the island. As he got closer, the fog grew thicker and the melody louder. Max felt as if he were in a dream. The island was covered in tall, dark trees, and there was a strange light coming from the center. Max tied the boat to a branch and stepped onto the shore. Chapter 5. The Keeper of the Melody. Max followed the light through the trees, his heart pounding with anticipation. The music was so beautiful that he felt tears in his eyes. He reached the center of the island and stopped in amazement. In a small clearing, there was a beautiful old piano glowing with a soft, golden light. And sitting at the piano was a figure, playing the melody that had drawn Max here. The figure was slender and graceful, with long hair that seemed to shimmer in the moonlight. Max couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman, young or old. He took a step closer, and the music stopped. The figure turned and looked at Max with kind, sad eyes. "You should not be here, young one," the figure said in a soft, melodious voice. "The midnight melody is not meant for human ears." Max swallowed hard. "I'm sorry," he said. "I just wanted to know where the music came from. It's so beautiful." The figure smiled sadly. "The melody is a gift and a curse. It was created long ago by a musician who wanted to capture the beauty of the night. But the music was too powerful. It trapped the musician's spirit here on this island, bound to play the melody every night for eternity. Max felt a shiver run down his spine. "Is there a way to free you?" he asked. The figure shook their head. "Only someone with a pure heart and a brave spirit can break the curse. But it is dangerous. Many have tried and failed." Chapter 6. The Challenge of the Spirits. Max knew he had to try. He couldn't leave without helping. "What do I have to do?" he asked. The figure pointed to the edge of the clearing, where 3 stone statues stood. "These are the spirits of the lake. They guard the curse. You must face each one and prove your worth." Max nodded, determined. He walked up to the first statue. As he approached, it came to life, stepping down from its pedestal. It was tall and imposing, with eyes that seemed to glow in the darkness. "Answer this," the spirit said in a booming voice. "What is more powerful, knowledge or wisdom?" Max thought carefully. "Wisdom is the right use of knowledge," he said slowly. "So, wisdom is more powerful." The spirit nodded and stepped aside. Max moved on to the second statue. This one was smaller and more delicate, with a gentle expression. "Answer this," the second spirit said. "What is more valuable, courage or kindness?" Max took a deep breath. "Both are important," he said, "but courage can be used to hurt or to help. Kindness can only heal. So, kindness is more valuable." The spirit smiled and stepped aside. Max reached the third statue, which was the largest and most formidable. Its eyes blazed with an intense light. "Answer this," the third spirit said. "What is the greatest power in the world?" Max knew the answer. He had felt it in the music, in the eyes of the figure at the piano. "Love," he said. "Love is the greatest power." The third spirit nodded, and the ground beneath Max's feet began to glow. The spirits merged into one, and the light surrounded Max, lifting him into the air. He felt a warm, comforting presence around him. And then everything went dark. Chapter 7. The Breaking of the Curse. When Max opened his eyes, he was lying on the shore of the lake. The sun was rising, and the fog had lifted. He sat up, feeling dazed and confused. Had it all been a dream? But then he heard a soft, familiar voice. "Thank you, Max." He turned and saw the figure from the island, standing on the water. They looked different now, more real, more human. The sadness was gone from their eyes. "You have broken the curse," the figure said. "The spirits of the lake are free, and so am I. The midnight melody will no longer play." Max felt a wave of relief and happiness. "I'm glad I could help." The figure smiled and began to fade away. "You have a brave heart, Max. Never forget that." And with that, they were gone. Chapter 8. The Return to Silent Creek. Max stood up and looked around. The lake was calm and peaceful, the water sparkling in the morning sun. He felt different, stronger, and wiser. He knew he had experienced something incredible. He walked back through the forest, his heart light, and his mind full of the memories of his adventure. When he reached the town, the streets were beginning to come alive with people starting their day. Max went home, feeling tired but happy. He told his parents what had happened, and though they were worried at first, they saw the change in him and believed his story. The legend of the Midnight Melody became just that, a legend, a story of the past. Max never forgot the figure on the island, the spirits of the lake, or the beautiful, haunting melody. He knew he would carry the memory with him forever. And whenever he looked out at the lake, he felt a sense of peace and wonder. Silent Creek returned to its quiet, peaceful ways. But Max knew that there was magic in the world, just beyond the edge of the ordinary. and he knew that no matter what happened, he would always be ready for the next adventure.
Subscribe for more videos. Your support helps me create more content. Thanks for watching.